Hello guys, here Jane, this is S2 Statistics, and in today's video I'm gonna talk about Parivision the Dusty 2. I really like the play style because I am an old school AWP that plays a slow paced game, and Jame really pushes out to the limits of this slow paced, saving the rounds, playing more passive and controlling the aggression. That is a very interesting to see and watch. So let's move on. Starting with the CT profile, as I said, they really like this AWP, so they save rounds a lot, and also they have a presence. As you see with the arrows here, sometimes Jamie will pick out the mid towards the lower tunnels and then fall back. Sometimes he plays on these regions. And they are one of those teams that plays the 2B setup with the two anchors as B. The two anchors doesn't move really often, only once that it is one player here, another player here. So they play more slow-paced control because as they need to maintain the WP, playing with the two anchors is a more safe option because if the A players fall back, if the A players die, we're always gonna have the two B players, so three players considering the mid player that is Jame alive, three players and they save the round, save the economy, save the weapons. And the A players usually play on the corner with sometimes one player here, another times here. So the main idea for the CT is to save the economies, to maintain this AWP rolling around. And now I look on the default play, as I said, the two anchors on the B side with the Molotov, sometimes with the smoke covering out. With the mid region, we see that Jamie, because he is a old school WP, he plays always this peek on the doors all the way onto the mid region or to the secret part of the map. And in the default, we have one player that is Sayelo on the stairs region, so he's gonna connect because they often do this smoke on the lower tunnels because the T side may push through tunnels and then lower region and cut out this rotation. So they always have a Sayelo on this position, on this default. Then we see AW on this position right here. That the idea from here is to connect, and that's why we see the Molotov on the blue region. This is a very common Molotov on the North American teams. They do this a lot, and sometimes some CIS teams also do this. This is covered with the standard smoke on the North region. So very default play. And now to the mid push, as I said, Jamie has the job of controlling the aggression, controlling the tempo of the team with the WP. And because of that, we see that sometimes he will push it off this smoke. So we have a three players ignoring the A side, so they give up this part of the map to control this region. And then the Jamie job here is to take out the aggression near the cat region or near the green region, then fall back. Because, as I said, they need to maintain the WP, they need to save because there is this often the fear of losing the WP, losing the economy, losing the game. So he will fall back most of the time. They will do quick aggression and then they will maintain the two players here, the stairs, to control the stairs plus cat region. And when they do this, they doesn't need to start with the Molotov like on the previous round that I'm gonna show. So they start with the smoke because the smoke is a more to close out the information, to close the gaps. And now the AWP stairs, this is a very interesting position because when they do these AWP stairs, they expose their game, they open their game, they open the map to take the picks, to give more opportunities for Jame to find the opening kills. And because he's opening the map on the mid-air, we see that we have two players on the corner region because they want to also take the duels, they want to open the position, they want to play more aggressive. So instead of waiting the T's to move, now they take the initiative. And this is interesting, good, because this shift is the rhythm of the game, the breaks the rhythm. Because when we talk about Jamie on every map that he plays slow, he plays passive. So this point out aggressions, this point out more open angles is interesting, it's break the rhythm of the game. Another break hitman is when they play this aggro long, so they give up the 2B anchor roles. So instead of having one player on the main region, one player on the plat region, he'll play on the box, in the car positions. And now James opens towards the mid instead of playing near doors right here, near the stairs as in other positions. He plays on the backside because in this position it is easy to him to rotate towards B in the case they need maybe rotate towards this box right here. Now we have three players on the A side, and these three players is the only few times they play on the pit position, So the pit player will waiting for the rotations that the cheese may push out of the smoke and the molotov, and they will be met by the corner players. So the pit player is a more wild card, Since they doesn't often play this position, the players aren't going to check because they only plays the pit player when they have 3A. So if you ever find the situation playing against Parivision that you find out a pit player, you're gonna know 1B, only 1B. Maybe 2 if Jame already rotates towards B, but a pit player indicates 1B. And now the AWP long, that is very default, standard. A lot of teams do this same approach as they're gonna show to you because there isn't a lot of ways to play the WP long. Most of the teams play on the deep cross right here, sometimes on the cars, like James playing on the usual. So they open the cross angle, the corner angle, because Jamie will cover out the information. And this Molotov on the blue is very important because this limits where the cheese can move. So the cheese will move off the smoke if they want to rush the smoke away to the smoke fade and won't have this space to cover. So they either go pitch or they stay on the corner and be picked by two players. And then we have a stairs player because the standard approach to push out the T's as the A side on the map is either doors or splitting short stairs. So this gives a more cover because 280 for this attacks on the stairs region from the T side. And once again, there isn't much to talk about the B region, because two anchors, not a lot of movement, they always plays on the same position, they doesn't rotate a lot. There are other teams that really rotate that start with the 2B players, like TNL, the Ukrainian team. Sometimes plays 2B and then one quickly rotates when the action go. But this isn't the case for Parivision. Parivision really likes to have the 2B players because remember, they need to save the weapon, they need to have the economy, they need to sustain this AWP. That is an expensive way to play. And something that I want to highlight, because I'm going to talk about the T profile, so before starting the T profile, is that we didn't see Jamie play on the B side as other AWP plays, because sometimes we have a B AWP player right here on the plat position. It isn't the case for Jamie, because since they already plays a lot of these two players on the same position, we doesn't need to have a third player or even shift players maybe. Like Nora or Belknock can play mid or move out, but it doesn't necessarily for them to the Parivision. It doesn't fit their style because playing on the B side as the WP kind of limits the expansion for the WP, and James doesn't like it. James plays mid, plays A side, plays long angles with a lot of space to cover, because B side will only cover this part. Mid you can cover here, come lower tunnels, stairs, cover the long angle, and the A side covers all the way doors and quickly rotates straight across. So there are more options when we play mid and A with the WP. And now for the T profile, as I said, the WP presence, after all, it is Jamie. Jamie will play WP whatever map they're playing, whatever CT or T, he always have the WP. And they also have oh, sorry about that. And they also have this 2-1 tool sets up, 2A, 1 mid, 2B in the tunnels region. And they play very slow approach, they really take the time to fire off the rounds, and then do some progressions as I already drew the arrows, on the secret arrow right here controlling mid, a secondary arrow that it is the transitions from tunnels and also from the ace player to the stairs. So they take the game more slow as the T side. There are some rushes, but as I'm gonna show you on the rushes, they only play rushes when they doesn't have the economy, Maybe 2 Galil, some Tech 9s or full pistols, some Deagles. They play the rushes for secure the pen link, for secure maybe 1-2 kills, trade off the kills. So only semi-buys low economy situations. Now the default, as I said, 2-1-2, 2A, 1 mid, 2B. The 2A players, it is right here on the doors. We have one player connecting as this acts like an wild card, because he can either help on the mid or help on the A side. Meanwhile, you see James often with the WP on this position, the default as he really plays the WP. Controlling because in the same way that he pushes the duels towards the A side when he plays CT, he will do this ST, so he open the angle to take the trades on the T side. And now on the B side, we see one player controlling the upper turners with the secondary player with the moving out to lower turners, because the main progression, the main evolution of this style of the default is to engage on the A side. So as I showed in the T profile arrows, they're gonna move all this way. So the same arrow, they're gonna do this progression. So they go in the stairs. And something that I must say is that they doesn't split the plays. If they commit stair, 4 or 5 players on stairs, maybe 3 players, sometimes with the secondary 2 lurkers. Not the like other teams does, like Vitality does, 3D Max does, TNNL also does this, they split 2 players here, 2 players here, and engage. No, 4, 3 players, full commit for Parivision. Now showing the A attack, as I said, when they commit 3, 4 players. There's enough about these split positions. And something they do is to make this lurker, because the lurker will round right here and then engage. And once again, Jame plays the mid position because he really wants this corridor for he takes the AWP duels. So he needs all this opening of the map because he is reliant on long angles engagement as his specialty. In order to attack the A side, they play step by step. First to control this region, like one zone, and then they control the secondary zone, right here. These HIs to break out the smoke that sometimes the CTs or even the Ts go this smoke in the corner region. So they always have this preemptive HI to break out the smoke, this nade. Very standard, Molotov cars, because this is the position that Jame after all plays on the car position with the WP. And then smoke cross. They doesn't do the double wall, like one smoke here, then one smoke here to move in this position. Only one smoke, not enough utilities. Now the AWP control, there is a very interesting play that I saw they doing a few times, and I really like this approach from Jamie because, as if I'm not wrong, by the way, when they used the same tech against TNL knew about this and pinged out Jamie with a Molotov and then with some nades. It was very interesting. I can't remember if it was against TNL or if it was against Ecstatic. But by the way, Jamie plays this long AWP. And he plays both here and here. These two positions happens because we have a one player on the lower turners that his idea is to shift towards the stairs. And now we see the 2 AW. AW here, AW here is the same player because he can either play mid because they like to have one per mid if it is either James. So James playing the B side, as the WP, no one is here, so he will cover out the position. Or he can even place this cat position that is this main position. Then we have Exhalo playing doors, really control position, like Nora plus Belknok playing this Glutonous position. And the real idea here is that Jamie will cover this flat position B and then cover here. And the team will transitions. And that's why we see the smoke on the doors, because they want to hide this position, or they want to hide what they're doing. Now, as I said, the rush is only low economy, full commit players, And this time, instead of the nade, the HI, they do the flash because they want to push. And if they want to push, it's better flash out and then stay on an anti-flash position and then storm. No regrets, only pushing. And then once again, the same utilities, very standard, very basic utilities, Molotov plus one smoke, not necessarily secondary smoke. And something that I also must say is that even low economy situations, Jamie is the last man to engage in the rush, If he isn't covering the mid position alone as lurker, he will be the fourth man, because 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now he will be the fourth man because this player is necessary to flank out the information, to give you more information from the tunnels players that the city sometimes push the aggression. Now to the rush B. AW once again playing the lurk as he plays this position a lot, as I showed in all previous positions. He plays this position or either sometimes on the secret whenever Jame isn't on the secret position. And then they to engage is something that they do, and I really like it, is to always throw this Molotov on the plat, because even though they doesn't play this position as CT, there is a safe check, because if there is an AWP on the plat position that we usually see from B players at WP, well, better to remove him. Or even a rifle like M4 sometimes a FAMAS that is very deadly on this position. And also another Molotov plus on the A main with a very open flash. They throw this flash sometimes more here to blind the player from the car position. And then I smoke to block out the door's position. Very safe approach. Very standard, there isn't enough to talk about rushes because rushes are rushes after all. You move fast. Sometimes we have a Mac 10 on one player, so they shift positions. Maybe AW has the Mac 10, so he'll place near the connector position, to engage faster. And then Swift maybe put XIL or Nora, sometimes James, Balconok, whatever. They will play according with the weapons they have on the timing. Because Flash is more, because Rush is more aggressions, quick aggressions, no economy. Now that's it. But before finishing, and I really need to include a conclusion, like a sort of, so I can just play out of my thoughts. But something that I see that I lack is on the T side of the Parivision is the mid aggressions towards the control on these regions. I will fall back on the T profile and eraser just 1 second so I can draw more things better. Right here. Something that I really see that they lack. Oh shit, I can click here. Now I can click. Is to progress the aggressions on this region, because we see a lot of teams like Vitality do this, and they doesn't do it. I really like when teams do this. Sometimes they smoke on the CT spawn and then progress starts the B side on this part of the attack, and they doesn't do. And I think that is weird because if you have the Jame with the WP having the opportunity to push, like in this box right here, as this CTs push, you have a lot of space, a lot of angles to cover. And that's where James shines, when they have all this open space, so all these angles to cover, all these long duels. And it doesn't do. I don't know why. I don't know if they doesn't feel comfortable playing on this position because they really train these more close aggressions as cheese, as on the A side corners right here, on the B side. But I think they should do it. I really think that they should progress, like AW, Nora, excellent player Nora. I remember when he was playing on the Rush B team, he was a fantastic player Nora. And push out more aggressions, Well, Nora is here playing lure tunnels. Keep pushing lure tunnels and then enter here. And now we enter here, we smoke on side of the map and then progresses to another side of the map. So I think that they should do it. That is my take on what is lacking for the Parivision T side. Now closing out. Future content, as remember guys, I'm doing a kind of marathon. I don't know if it's the right term to call it, but I want to make one video per day to really push out the engagement from the YouTube channel plus the Twitter page that you guys can also follow me. Every social media, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube is the same handle, CS2 Statistics. So I'm gonna do the NIP train on the tomorrow's video. And as I said, I really don't know how to make train. I really don't like the map, but I'm trying my best to make something interesting to watch. Then Astralis, then I will go back for Vitality Inferno because they finished Colonia and I think that they have a lot of potential to talk some things about how they play the map and how Zayu reacts on how Apex reacts to the map, because this is a map that I think really that Apex really stand out on the play. So that's it guys, hope you enjoyed the content, see you soon, bye bye.